All right, we're here, another episode of the Fiber with my good friend Erin. She's one of my best friends. Hi.
Hi.
Um, she was willing enough to actually do this, which I appreciate. So,
I'm excited about this.
well, that's good. What makes you excited about this?
I don't know, I like talking to you and yeah, I think it's just fun. I don't know, I'm a curious person. I like getting to kind of do these things and have conversations and get to know more about people in general, so including myself.
The second episode that I did with Willie, he actually brought up, and I don't know if it was like pre-interview or when we were actually recording. He said that he thought it was cool because there were like little mini documentaries where you get to find out all the cool things about everyone in your life because
Yeah.
everyone has like such an amazing story and everyone's fascinating. So,
I
and
agree. It's
I
like
think,
like people like everyone like everyone feels ordinary, but I think everyone once you dial down, we all have these like experiences that make us so unique and extraordinary. So and interesting. So
well,
I think it's
you
really cool what you're doing.
you definitely are interesting and extraordinary. You're one
Oh,
of my
thank
favorite persons ever.
thank
So,
you.
you're welcome. All right, first question. You worked for Crocs.
I
Now
did.
you sell professional microphones.
I do.
Tell me about your career journey. Also, did the CEO of Crocs actually date Taylor Swift?
Not the CEO, one of the original founders. And no, he did not. He just that's what he told Boulder PD when he was getting arrested for a DUI. But
That's
actually
my
that year,
go-to when I get arrested for a DUI.
someone that
I
year
dated
for Halloween,
Prince.
yeah, right? Someone that year though for Halloween did legitimately dress up as him at the work Halloween party. Like they had like the lipstick on the collar. It was like the white button down that wasn't buttoned up straight, like the shoveled hair. And then they like put like a Taylor Swift signature on it. It was pretty creative. Um, but yeah, no, to answer your question, it's kind of an interesting journey. Both of those jobs I kind of fell into by accident, which is kind of funny. I to back it way up, so my I've only had four jobs in my life. I've been working since 1999 when I was 16, and I've had four jobs in 21 years. I tend to stay with companies for a while. But my first job, like 16-year-old in high school, I worked at the movie theater because I love movies, and it was a pretty easy job. And I ended up being there for 7 years. It got me through junior and senior year of high school, as well as all 5 years of college. Um, and it was, I mean, great opportunity, great high school, college job. Met some great people, learned so many great things. Um, Worked at Starbucks for about a year, and then I came back to the movie theater because I was not happy at Starbucks. And they were willing to take me back. I was assistant manager by that point. And it was actually how I ended up with the job at Crocs. Is I was working at the movie theater, and I was in the box office, and I was selling tickets, and we had this loyalty program, and I was doing the whole schmoozy like, oh, it's free popcorn Tuesday, and if you sign up for the loyalty program, you can get your free popcorn today, and I just need you to fill this out. And the woman that came to my window was like so impressed. She goes, "You seem like you like customer service." I said, "I really do." And she goes, "I manage the call center at Crocs and I'm hiring. Would you be interested in applying for a job?"
Nice.
And she gave me her business card. And um interested and I had this was about almost a year after I'd graduated college, and it was, at that point it was 2008, and so the economy was awesome. So I was kind of looking for something else anyway. And so I interviewed with her and I got hired on. And it was just a basic like customer service call center rep, but I kind of worked my way up there and really I loved the culture of working at Crocs and the people there. I really do genuinely enjoy customer service. Like it's kind of a shit job, but at the same time, like I like helping people and I like fixing things for people. So it was perfect for me. But I was that, and then I kind of moved up to a tier two supervisor, and then I was a team lead, and then they had a management spot open. So I worked into that, learned a lot about process management. Um, ended up as a senior manager, working for a director, and so learned so much there because I mean my degree's in political science, and let's be honest, that's really only good if I want to run for office or argue with strangers on the internet, and I don't have a burning passion to do either one of those. So yeah, so I've been a lot of just like, okay, like don't want to go into politics. We're going to learn things on the job. And Crocs was really great. But then they relocated and it was about, in theory, it was 45 minutes away, but it was really, in reality, it was more like an hour and 15-minute commuting time, which was much. So biggest leap of faith in my life. And I quit my job. I literally like nothing else lined up. Like, I'm like, I don't feel like doing this anymore, so I'm going to quit my job. And I think I freaked out pretty much everybody that cared about me. They're like, so what are you going to do? I'm like, I've got savings and I'll figure it out. And ended up taking almost an entire year off. I call it my sabbatical year. Really just kind of an opportunity, took some classes, trying to kind of figure out what my next step was. And then I kind of got to the point, we did some traveling, like we went to Seattle and we went to Hawaii during that time. We went to like Chicago and Wisconsin. So, got to take some trips. And then finally I was like, well, that, not working for a year is not great on a savings account. So I should probably go back to work because I need money. And so my next step then is I said, I'm going to apply with a temp agency and just take whatever they have to offer. If it's an admin or customer service rep or whatever, like not same level I'm used to, but just something that I get some money coming in while I look for something more permanent. So the funny thing with my job now is I filled out an online application for the temp agency. They called me the next day, I turned it in on a Friday. They called me, or Thursday. They called me Friday. And they said, we really like your resume. We think we might have a good spot for you. Can you come in and interview with us on Monday? So I said, okay. So I show up on Monday to the temp agency and I interviewed with them and they're like, yeah, we think this is a really great position for you. It was more money than I was looking for. So that was really good too. And so then they called me back Monday afternoon and they said, we talked to the company. They want you to come interview with them tomorrow morning. So then I went in on Tuesday, did my interview with the actual company, and they had said, they're like, we had somebody quit. We have somebody else on vacation. We're an office of 9 people, so not having 2 people here makes a big difference. A lot of our decision making is going to be on how soon you can start. And I said, I can start whenever. And they called me back that like Tuesday afternoon, and they said they really like you. They want you to come in as an admin. Can you start tomorrow?
Wow.
I went from being unemployed to having a job in 5 days. So I went in and it was just an office admin position and really liked the people there, really, really, really liked the culture. It's a Danish company. So a lot more of that kind of European mentality. It's a small office. There's 9, well, we're 10 people in the office now, but at the time there were only 9 people in the office and then 8 people out in the field. And that's the entire US staff.
Wow.
So it's really great because you have to learn a lot of, you get pulled in a lot of directions and no day is ever the same as another. And it's very fast paced. And I like that. I don't do well not having stuff to do. So, yeah. And then I was there 6 weeks and my boss was like, so you're a temp. We really like you. What's it going to take for you to stay? And I said, I was in a management position at my last job and I don't expect you to pay me what I was making there, but I need to be making more than I am now. And she said, name a number, and I gave it to her, and they created a management position for me and met my salary requirements. So, and I've been there ever since.
Amazing.
That was almost 3 years ago. So,
do they need a mental health therapist on staff?
who doesn't need a mental health therapist on staff?
Yeah.
The question is, will they pay for a mental health therapist on staff?
Well, that's where you have to grease the wheels. Yeah.
Right. So
I'm also very good at customer service because really that's what I'm trained to do.
Well, if I need a customer service person, I know who to ask.
Sweet.
Although right now I'm currently furloughed though, so there's some of that.
It's okay. We'll be back. We'll be back soon. We'll be
Yes.
back in like June. Then everyone will die, and then
Well,
we'll have a lot more jobs available. So,
right. Well, you know, it's interesting for me because I think a lot of things that's been hard about this time is that there's like the unknown, right? Like I think that's people they don't know how long this is going to last. For me, I've almost got some of that like less of that uncertainty because I like my furlough right now is until August 3rd.
hmm.
So I'm like, I at least have a tentative date that I'm shooting for, which I think has made this maybe a little bit easier. It's like, okay, like I know how much time I'm gonna have to do this.
Hmm. One of the hardest things, like, I deal with a lot of anxiety. I miss the depression because I deal with anxiety and depression.
Right.
Depression's nice because you
Mhm.
can actually sleep. You just
Right.
sleep all day. Anxiety is awful because then you just don't sleep and you're like, oh, there's all these things that I need to worry about. But
Right.
um, and for me, it's been tough knowing that like I can work from home. I really want to go back into the office. I really
Right.
do. And yeah, I miss that. I feel like I'm not as productive as I should be. But there's that fun word should.
Right. You shitting
Where
all over yourself.
yep, yeah, shitting all over myself.
I heard that
So
phrase and I'm like, I'm gonna stick with that because that's a good one.
well, and right now we don't have any showers that are working
Oh,
because
right.
apparently trying to replace a shower handle turned into a giant project with my best friend.
Shit.
So, anyways, that's why I have a hat on. But I always wear a hat when I do these
Right.
because that's my hair. It's terrible right now.
It's fine.
Anyways,
But I do
all
like your
right,
hat too.
question number two.
Okay.
What's the deal with baseball? I don't get it.
I love
No.
baseball.
Why?
So it's a lot of things for me. I think a lot of it's in sentimentality. I so my dad's a big sports fan. Pretty much all sports except hockey. He's not a hockey fan, but he will, you know, during baseball season, it's baseball. During basketball season, it's basketball. He's a diehard football fan. And when the Rockies started as a team in 1993, I remember my aunt and uncle took me to my first game, which was the old Mile High Stadium. Way back,
I was there. Yep.
yeah, yep, way back before Coors Field
Yep.
was built.
Yo, by far. Yeah.
And I just, just the atmosphere, I really enjoyed it. Well, then I would just kind of, I mean, we didn't have cable and we only had like two TVs in our house. So my dad would watch baseball and I would just sit and watch baseball with my dad. It was kind of a way that I could connect with him. And as an adolescent, I did not have a great relationship with my dad. As I've gotten to be an adult and we've addressed a lot of things of why our relationship wasn't good, like we get along great now. We've been able to kind of figure out there's a lot of forgiveness that's had to happen. But it was one of those things that we could do together without butting heads over stuff. And so I really liked that. Well, then they kind of shifted that they were doing it used to be all the games were on local TV. Well, then they shifted it. It was all on cable, and we didn't have
Right.
cable. And so, but my grandparents had cable. So then what my dad and I would do is like a couple times a week, we would go over to my grandparents' house so that we could watch baseball games with them. And so then it was a way to kind of connect with my grandma and grandpa as well. And they were baseball fans. I mean, they were both born in the Bronx. My grandpa lived in Colorado for 30 years before he passed, and you never could have like been able to tell that he lived a day outside the Bronx. He had that thick Bronx accent. Um, he was truly a larger than life character. He was just one of my favorite people that has ever walked this earth. So for me that was a special thing, just getting to share that with them. And then my sister kind of got hooked. And then just as the more I learned the game, I appreciate the strategy and just the mentalness of it. People talk about how baseball's boring. It is if you expect a lot of action to go on, but if you like the mental side of it and kind of the strategy, it's actually really fascinating. And why do pitchers throw the pitchers that they do when they do, and why do they put in a batter when they do? And it's just, I really like that aspect of it. And just, I don't know, there's something about just going out and sitting in the sun and drinking a cold beer, and it's, to me, it's just, it's paradise.
That's so good to hear. I know it's one of your loves, and that's what I appreciate about you. You and my brother are the two biggest sports fans in my life. And I just love the fact that you are able to talk strategy about baseball where I don't get it at all.
There's always time to learn, Dan. You're smart. It's a smart person sport, is what I tell people.
Interesting. No, yeah, we'll have to go to a game when we can go to a game, and you
Yes.
can tell me and teach me about all the strategy.
And when you haven't been drinking prior to.
Right, exactly.
Although that was a fun game.
My best friend and I, we just went over and bought beers and chatted with each other. It was fun. This is not one of the questions, but have you watched The Last Dance on ESPN?
I have not. I'm not really a basketball fan.
I'm not. Well, I like hockey. Hockey and ultimate are my favorite sports. Because I was actually even on a team that was sponsored by Patagonia.
Ooh.
Yeah, in high school and early college days. Those are my two sports. But it's fascinating to watch, and I'm older than you, so I don't know if you have as much love for the game, but I remember watching Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, and Dennis Rodman, and it is the best documentary that I have seen on sports.
Yeah, I've
Since
heard
like
that
Hoop Dreams, yeah.
I've heard that from not just you. So
So good, so good.
I will check it out, because I right now need something. Otherwise it's going to be more RuPaul's Drag Race, which is fantastic, but it does not challenge me mentally, which is not a good thing. So
fair enough. I do like RuPaul's Drag Race also. That and Bar Rescue.
oh my gosh, yes,
Bar Rescue is one of my favorites.
it's so good.
All right, question number 3, and this is my wife's question, because she made me do this. I believe I bring that up every single time I talk to somebody, but this is her question. What is something that people don't know about you or would be surprised to know about you?
This was the hardest question to answer, because coming from my perspective, I like to think that I'm a pretty transparent person, and I'm pretty I am who I am, and don't really hide a lot of things. So I went to two people that know me really well. One is my friend Amy, who I've known for a long time, and then the other is my sister, who probably knows me better than anybody else in this world. And they both had very helpful answers, and that I 100% agree with. My friend Amy kind of had the more serious introspective, and she said that, for her, this was coming from her perspective as a cynic, which I don't think of her as a cynic, but she thinks of herself as a cynic. And she said that the thing that surprised her the most about me is how much I'm a cheerleader for people, which is true. Like I genuinely want to see people do well. I genuinely want to see people succeed and be at their best, and I want what's best for people. I'm not the type that wishes ill on something, and I'm gonna be like, yay, we can do it. Like, let's go do this. And so, to me, it just seemed like, well, that's just what you do. But I really appreciated her perspective about that, 'cause she's like, it's kind of a rare thing. Like, you don't expect that out of most people. So I appreciated that from her. My sister's was actually more along the lines of what I was thinking. Is she said that the fact that I go to punk rock and metal shows, which, and I would add on there too, is like, and also probably the way, like I've been told this too, is the way that I swear. Um, I think I swear a lot more than people expect out of me. Like, because my sister said, she's like, you come across as so like goody two shoes and clean cut, and then she's like, but then you're like, yeah, I went and saw Ozzy Osbourne live, and yeah, so
I can totally see that. So for both perspectives, you definitely are a cheerleader. You definitely try to bring out the best in other people. You have an amazing ability to see the good in people.
thanks.
You're welcome. You also have impeccable taste in music. So,
Awesome, thank
um,
you. My sister for the longest time told me that I had the worst taste in music, and I think she only said that is because like I'm very non-discriminating. But I will listen to like pretty much everything. In fact, I just
yeah,
made a new playlist today because that's, I don't know, it's my thing. I make playlists for today was because I'm trying to get myself motivated to like I need to dust and vacuum and do laundry and all that awesome housework that needs to get done.
no
So I
one
was like,
wants to do. Yeah.
exactly. So I was trying to make like one of those like I actually called it Let's Move, but like let's pump me up and kind of, and even just going through my music collection, it's like, oh yeah, like let's put a little DMX on there. Like we'll do a little Katy Perry. There's some NSYNC. Oh yeah, Bouncing Souls. I love that Bouncing Souls song. So it's just it's all over the place. But yeah, like I just think it's good to keep an open mind about that sort of thing, and to and it's been really interesting. This is something I've been kind of working on. Music has always played a big role in my life. I like to think of myself as musical. I'm not super trained musically, but like I like to sing, and I did high school orchestra I did 7 years of violin, so I've got some of that down. I took piano lessons for a bit, taught myself how to play the guitar, so I dabble a little bit. It's one of my goals to spend more time doing it. But I'm involved with the praise band at church, and I sing there. And our music director kind of put out this challenge of like, hey, praise band, let's write a song together. So we've been doing songwriting. Never done it. Big step outside of my comfort zone. I'm I know we've talked Enneagram. I'm an Enneagram 3, which is the achiever, which means that I want to do it perfectly or not at all. So I sometimes struggle with not doing things well, which if you're learning something new, you have to not do it well
Right.
before you can do it well. So that's sometimes hard for me. But it's also good, I think, to get pushed outside of that comfort zone and try something. But part of it is we were having this conversation yesterday is in music, thinking about why we like the music we do, like what and why we don't like the music we don't. And I think it was a really helpful perspective because I think we do like, people like music, but taking that time to identify that why I think is a little more challenging, but it's also really rewarding to be able to say like, I love this song and this is why I love this song. So that's been kind of a cool one for me, is to kind of explore that side.
That's a really good perspective because one of the things that's helped me through the anxiety of all of this pandemic stuff is going down a hole of YouTube
Mhm.
watching 90s videos. When my brother went to college, so he left in 94, um, we grew up here in Loveland, Colorado. He went to Trinity International University. It's out in the Chicago area. He asked me to start sending him videos, and this is back in the days of like VHS.
Right.
So he was big into classic rock, didn't like alternative music, but I was big into alternative music.
Hmm.
So I would just record 120 minutes, which was 90s MTV show, which was just all alternative music.
Nice.
And yeah, what was it, Friday? I think I was up till like 2 a.m. just watching videos of all the bands that I used to like. And the dogs were like, why are you still awake? Dad, Dad, you need to go to sleep. But yeah, so I'm watching like Spin Doctors and Gin Blossoms and
I love the Gin
Cracker.
Blossoms.
Oh, me too. Oh,
Oh,
Gin
they're so good.
Blossoms.
That was one of the first CDs I owned.
Really?
Yes.
What was the first CD that you ever bought?
Oh, first one I ever bought for sure. It's funny because
CD or tape?
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so it's funny. I had a coworker who did this thing, like this kind of questionnaire on Slack, not too like, but was before I got furloughed. But it just a fun like kind of icebreaker for the whole team. And it was, what was the first cassette that you owned, the first CD, the first record, and the first download.
Oh.
So I actually have answers to all of those because I just had to answer this. Um, the first cassette tape that I had, and remember, because like I'm a youngin here, I'm have to rep the millennials. Is I had the New Kids on the Block Step by Step, for
Uh,
which I got for my
that's pretty
8th
good.
birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So um, the first CD that I had was actually the Beach Boys' Greatest Hits, because I did not really grow up listening to contemporary music. I actually grew up listening to the oldies station. So I knew
Mm.
I was listening to the Beatles and the Beach Boys and the Turtles and Paul Revere and the Raiders, and I knew all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
oldies songs, but I didn't know a lot of the more contemporary. It was really like when I got to middle school and high school that I started um, going there. In fact, I just told my friend Amy this because we're building a playlist together. We have a theme of the day, and one of the yesterday's theme was a song that reminds you of your teen years. So I picked the song "One of Us" by Joan Osborne,
Oh,
and so
okay.
that was kind of I think it came out in '95, so I was like 13, 13, 14 range. No, 12. Sorry, I can't. I'm bad at math.
It's okay.
Math is terrible. Um, but anyway, that was when I kind of started making that shift of just listening to the oldies station all the time to exploring some of the more contemporary. So I was not an MTV person, but I would watch VH1. And when I started watching VH1, that was like the video that was always on. And it's a great song. I mean, she was unfortunately kind of a one-hit wonder, but I still love that song. It's such a good song.
Oh, she's super good. I've seen her in concert too.
Have you? Oh, I bet she'd be
Yeah.
amazing live.
Oh, so good. I think she played New West Fest,
Nice.
which, yeah, I think that's when I saw her.
Yeah.
Anyways, my
So,
first CD or my first tape was outside of like Christian rock because we had like Petra and Jeff Moore in the Distance and
right.
all
Always
of
good
that.
choices too.
I guess.
Rich Mullins and Amy Grant.
Oh,
Maybe
oh,
Curtis
Baby
Chapman.
Baby. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
My first tape, when I was developing my own sense of self was Paula Abdul's "Forever Your Girl."
Oh, that's a good one.
So good,
Yeah.
and Billy Joel's "Red Flag." So I had "We Didn't Start the Fire," and I forgot what else was on there. But yeah, those were my first tapes.
Oh, that's so I have to tell you a nerdy story about Billy Joel. Back when I was in college and working at the movie theater, and when I was kind of at one point I was a projection manager, so I was in charge of running the entire projection booth. And what that would mean is that on nights that I had to close, I would get all the movies started. And this was before digital, so I had to run it through the projector and all that,
Right.
splice reels of film together. So yeah, that's a
Oh,
fun thing that most people don't know.
that's cool.
I know how to splice film. Um,
That is awesome.
yeah, because I had to do it, and it was especially Thursday nights we'd get all the movies in, and it was I saw a lot of really good movies. I also saw a lot of really shitty movies because Thursday nights we would do changeover. All the new movies generally open on Fridays, So they would all come in and they'd be on these little reels and we would have to splice them together and put them on the platters. But then we would have to screen them all to make sure that we put them together right and that we didn't like screw
Oh,
anything up. So it was kind of fun. Like I remember that was when the Star Wars prequel was happening. And
yep.
so it was kind of cool. And I was in college. So it came in on like, it was supposed to open, well, technically on a Friday, but they were into like the midnight shows.
Right,
So
right.
we would get it on like Tuesday afternoon. So I'd be like, I'd put it together and I'd watch it Tuesday night, and then I'd go to class on Wednesday, and I'm like, so watch the new Star Wars prequel today or last night. It was pretty good. But anyway, when we didn't do changeover on nights that we had to close, I would get all the movies started, but then I had to make sure like stay until they finished because I'd have to shut the projection booth down, lock up all the doors, make sure everybody was out of the building. Well, you start all the movies, count cash, count inventory. You're done with all that by 11 o'clock. Sometimes the last movie's not getting out until 12:45 or 1 a.m. This is why it was a great college job, because most nights, like I had a good hour and a half to 2 hours that I had to kill, and they really didn't care what we did in that time. So I'm like, cool, I'll work on homework. Well, in theory, that's what I did. But one thing, if especially during summer break, if we didn't have homework, I had one friend that she and I were really good friends with, our kind of head theater tech, who came like if the projectors really broke and we couldn't fix it, we had to call him. And I'm still friends with him. He's a great guy. He's a little different and a little out there. Well, he was trying to learn all the words till we didn't start the fire, because that was going to be his karaoke go-to song. So that summer, that was our challenge, was to learn all of the words till we didn't start the fire.
Nice.
And at one point I had probably about 75% of it down, but that was, that was 15 years ago, and before I had a kid and a real job and, had to move space in my brain for other things.
So we didn't start the fire, and REM's, oh man, what was it? What's the one that he does? Michael Stipe does all the stuff.
It's The End of the World as We Know It.
Yeah.
And I Feel Fine.
Yeah.
That's so, like the quarantine theme song.
So my brother and I, we went and saw REM. Sonic Youth opened. They were terrible, but it turns out that Sonic Youth, if they're not feeling it, they like shit the bed and make it awful.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Which made me sad because I loved Sonic Youth.
Right.
But anyways, yeah, so Michael Stipe was singing Into the World as We Know It, and he's like, you guys realize you don't know the lyrics, and I don't really either, so I'm gonna have to read them. And he had a piece of paper.
Oh my God, that makes me feel better about life in general.
It was one of the best shows. My other favorite show that I went to was The Cure on the Blood Flowers tour.
Yeah.
My brother and I dressed up like we were going to a Jimmy Buffett concert.
Nice.
The Cure. So we
Very
wore
cool.
Hawaiian shirts.
Right.
We got stared at a lot, but The Cure was great. But yeah, I've always been a contrarian. So
I don't know about you, but I think like that for me has been one of, like, I mean, there's a lot of things, like a lot of grief and mourning that has had to go on during this whole quarantine process, of things that aren't happening. And I know, some people it's bigger things. I mean, like, people are literally dying. I'm, fortunate enough that we've been healthy. But there are events and stuff that we've had to kind of grieve the loss of. One of the hardest ones for me is I miss live shows. Like, I want nothing more right now than to just go be like in a crowd of people in a like shitty little auditorium listening to some really great music. Probably smelling a lot of weed because it's Colorado. But
it's funny because, like, as a therapist, I'm really attuned to other people's emotions. I'm not very attuned to my own emotions, which is why therapy is good for me.
Right.
Because I can kind of figure out like what I'm feeling.
I think that's why therapy is good for everyone.
I think it's wonderful for everyone. And to be honest, this is kind of my therapy at the moment, that I just get to talk to people. Um, but yeah, going to a live show, I forget how excited I get and how much fun it is, and just that energy. Oh, it's
Right.
so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I cannot wait. And it bums me out too, because Taste of Fort Collins um didn't happen this year, and they were
Right.
having like Silver Sun pickups. I forget who else was there, but yeah.
Right.
Anyways,
Yeah,
uh,
that's the two that I've been. I was really hoping. Well, I for sure have tickets, and I don't know if this has been canceled yet or not. But I'm. Who knows? It's not till August. But again, repping the millennials, is Backstreet Boys are coming to Denver this summer. So I had tickets to that, but also there was Green Day and Fall Out Boy and Weezer.
yeah,
I was like, oh, that's going to be such an amazing show. And who knows if we'll. I mean, we probably won't get to do that one now.
no, and
So
that one's over at what, Dick's Sporting Arena.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Weezer's super good in concert too. I've seen him
Are
like four
they? Oh, I've
times.
seen
Yeah,
Green Day in concert.
I have too. Yeah.
Green Day's really good. I think I saw Fall Out Boy. Because so funny story. And it's interesting that my sister brought up all the punk shows too, because I do genuinely enjoy punk music. But the reason that I learned to love punk rock is my sister is 6 years younger than I am. And
Oh,
and I always
interesting.
was the good kid. Like, I mean, I didn't really get in trouble much as a kid. My mom would even back that up. Like, I was a really good kid, as very responsible. And so my sister, who loved punk rock, like, I mean, I'd be like 21, so she was like 17, 8, 16. I don't, again, can't do math. But she would do, like, she would want to go to these punk shows, and mom would be like, I don't know about that. And then she's like, well, what if Erin goes with me? And then mom's like, okay, if Erin goes with you, you can go. So then she would come to me and say, if I buy your ticket for the show, will you go to it with me? And so I saw, like, we did Bouncing Souls one year, which was a really great show. But the reason I say I don't remember if I saw Fall Out Boys, we went to 2 different years to Warped Tour
Okay.
at
Yeah.
Mile High Stadium. And one of the years I think Fall Out Boy was on, but that was one of those years there were so many great shows, like Reliant K, who's one of my favorites, was there. Billy Idol played. Like, Billy Idol, I mean, this was 15
Oh,
years ago. He could put on a hell of a show. Um, we saw My Chemical Romance was at that one. I think The Offspring. It was a really, really good lineup. So that was, yeah, like one of those. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that Fall Out Boy was there, because it was that year that Sugar We're Going Down was so, like, you could hear it everywhere.
mhm.
But I honestly don't remember for sure.
Oh, it's fascinating because, yeah, I mean, that's just after like my huge summers of going to concerts. So, but yeah, so I went to Warp Tour. Green Day was there. Biff Naked.
Oh yeah.
Um, Shoot, I forget who else was there. Oh, No Effects. Yeah, it
Oh
was No
yeah,
Effects.
that's one of
Yeah,
my
I got
sister's
to.
favorites.
Oh man, No Effects was great.
Yeah.
So good.
Did you do Little Linoleum?
Sorry,
Linoleum?
I don't remember that.
Oh, that's one of my favorites of their songs.
Oh, so good. All right, question 4. See, this is why I thought it would take like a half an hour when I first started this, but really it takes like an hour. Um, all right, question number 4. What have you been reading, binging, doing while you're in quarantine?
Oh man, I had to write some stuff down because I've done a lot of different things. There's the verse in the Bible about, like, be still and know that I'm God. My mom always says that I am not good at being still, which is true. Like, I don't like being bored, and I don't like not having things to do. So I'm always like, do. But I kind of, the big ones is my 2 favorite shows that I've been watching, besides Tiger King, because who didn't love that train wreck?
So, did Carol feed her husband
Of,
to the
of
tigers?
course she did,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
No
Although
one
there
I've
is,
ever talked to has said, like, no, no, not at
with,
all.
without a doubt,
Everyone knows that she did.
she
Okay.
totally did. Although I have seen the internet theory that he's actually Jeff Lowe, aka runner-up douchebag on the show. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he was surprised. I don't know. There was not a lot of redemption or redemptive qualities on that show.
No, everyone was horrible.
Yeah,
Everyone was horrible.
right.
It was a beautiful, beautiful show. If you're a therapist, because you
Yeah,
get to watch it and you're like, oh, I see your injury. Oh, there that is. Yeah.
right, right. So yeah, besides that though, I've done some of my favorites. So I did Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, which is I think you would enjoy. It's really great. Like it's got great musical numbers because it's a musical. It's kind of funny. There's a lot. There's actually really good representation, which to me is important. Like she's got a gender fluid neighbor. She is a coder at a company in San Francisco, and she is the only woman on her team except for her boss. So she's very, very smart.
Huh.
Um, there's a great family element. Like her dad is dying of a rare neurological disease, so it's how she's coming to terms with that. But the idea is that she goes for an MRI because she's making sure she doesn't have the same disease as her dad. And an earthquake happens while she's in the MRI machine, and then she comes out of it, and she has this ability to hear people's emotions, but they're presented to her through song.
Interesting.
So it's a really, really kind of out there concept, but then she decides because she has this ability, she's going to use it to help people. And so, like, one of them is, her dad, because he's got this disease, he can't talk, but she can, then she, like, she hears these songs going on. So she's kind of able to help her mom and her brother take care of him better.
Huh.
Yeah, really, really interesting. Same thing. She's got a coworker that she's kind of got a crush on. Turns out he's dealing with like the loss of his dad, and so she's able. But she hears the song "Mad World" by Gary Jules, or the '80s
Tears for
version.
Fears. Yeah.
Tears for Fears. Yeah.
No, I saw Gary Jules actually.
Oh,
in
that must have been
Denver.
amazing.
Oh, so good. It was 2004, so it was a couple of years after Donnie Darko. But yeah,
Okay.
super good.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, but it's a really cool concept of how she identifies. And part of it is like through doing this is she has to kind of confront some of her own stuff that's going on too. And so there's a lot of really good
Ah,
personal character growth going on too. So I've really, really enjoyed that one. I let Annalise watch it with me. It's probably a little adult for her because she's 9, but meh, I'm a cool mom apparently, and she's very mature too.
you
So
are, and you're right. She's really mature for a 9-year-old.
yeah, so that one I've loved. Also, I mean John Oliver. For me, so I told you my degree's in political science, but I actually started in college as a journalism major, which really glad I didn't take that route.
That's why we're good friends. Me too.
Yay! Yeah, I was gonna go be. My dream job was I wanted to be the baseball writer for the Denver Post because I could like get to go to all the Rockies games and write about it. Like that was. But in looking at how technology has progressed and like kind of newspapers are becoming. I mean, news is still super relevant and important, but newspaper is not. And that's what I wanted to do. I was not going to be a television journalist. I wanted to be a newspaper writer. So probably dodged a bullet there as newspapers are dying, but John Oliver to me marries my love of good news with good politics in the form of a comedy show. Like it's a comedy show for sure, but in my opinion it is some of the best political investigative journalism that is on the air. So
between him and Seth Meyers is also one of my favorites.
oh yes, he's great.
I love Stephen Colbert, but
Yes.
Stephen Colbert is like the Jay Leno now.
my mom's a big Stephen Colbert fan. I think some of his stuff is funny, but I don't consistently watch him. Like John Oliver is the one that it's like I will watch every week. In fact, I still like that is probably the next thing I'm doing today is to go watch last night's episode, which I tried to watch earlier and it wasn't up yet. So
Oh, that's good to know because I know there wasn't one last night or
yeah.
last week.
Or at least
So,
I think there's one. Like I have the HBO Now app and it was telling me it's like new episode coming soon. So I think that I don't know. I hope there's
oh,
one there.
we'll figure it out.
The other one, yeah, like I said, I had to write these down because I've had so many. Mrs. America, which is on Hulu. Uh, that one I've really enjoyed. There's only 5 episodes so far. They're only releasing one a week, but it's about the ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment.
Oh,
And
I've seen the ads for it. Yeah.
yeah, so and it's Kate Blanchett is in it as Phyllis Schlafly, who was really the one who took the Equal Rights Amendment down. And a lot of the religious right has used a lot of her grassroots tactics for a lot of what's going on politically now. So she was kind of really the one who ushered in that era.
Interesting.
But also Rose Byrne is in it as Gloria Steinem and Bella Abzug, who great person is represented. So to me, I love the political aspect. It's a little depressing because it's like, they passed the act in 1972 and needed 38 states to ratify. And the 38th state, Virginia, ratified in January. So, almost 50 years later, and us ladies are still
Nice.
dealing with a lot of the same shit. So it's kind of depressing in that sense. But it's a really neat perspective. Like I've really learned a lot from it. So, and on top of it being great television.
I'll have to watch it.
So yeah, so I recommend that. I keep telling myself I'm going to read more books, which I haven't done, but I'm doing the one that I'm doing reading right now is Little Women, which I don't know why I haven't read up until now. I mean, one of my favorite stories. Like the movie I've watched, like the older one, the Winona Ryder version, I've
Mm,
probably seen 20 or 30 times. Like I just love that story. But we're trying to encourage Annalise to read, so we formed a little Little Women book club. So
nice.
that's been kind of fun. Like that's my homeschool hack. Because homeschooling is not for the faint of heart.
I
Um,
have no idea how you do it. I have
I, you
no
know,
idea how you have spent, what, 8 weeks
right.
now at home with a kid. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, like my sister sent me a picture and she's like, I bought school supplies and there was like a bottle of Jameson and there was a bottle of tequila and like, yeah. And I'm like,
I need to
hey,
meet your sister. Your sister sounds amazing.
you would love my sister. She's incredible. You were going to meet her because she was going to come out, but
Yeah.
now that's because of the Rona. Uh,
Yeah. Not today, Rona.
yeah, but no, she's a cool person. But yeah, I mean, I have always been a supporter of a strong public education. Like I think a well-educated population is vital for the success of a society. So I have always been the one that's like, we need to pay teachers more and we need to support our teachers and like we need to do in fact the week before like shit really hit the fan I was kind of joking because there was like Mercury was in retrograde and there was a full moon and it was like the week before spring break and there was something else going on too. So I actually sent her teacher a Starbucks gift card and I'm like, I hope you get through this week. And then I think I sent that on Monday and Wednesday they declared the pandemic and then like Friday they announced that like, oh yeah, guess what? We're all distance learning for the rest of this week. So I've always been that supporter. Now that I've had to actually like figure out fourth grade fractions and um, just even
Oh,
motivate my
God.
kid to get her work done. Like I even had literally this morning I told her she was like laying on the living room floor petting the cat after I'd already given her assignments and I point blank looked at her I'm like do you do this at school and she's like no and I'm like so why is it okay to do it here um I may have lost my shit a little bit but
It's okay.
it happens so yeah so I it's been it has made me that much more grateful for what our teachers do every day, because I mean, admittedly, like my kid's a really good kid too. Like I'm
Mhm.
gonna brag on her for a minute. Like she listens well and she is smart and she's kind. Like she's just a really good kid. And I can't imagine trying to motivate her plus 22 or 23 other kids who are not as mature and smart and kind and
Right,
smart
yeah,
as she is. Like
yeah.
it blows my mind. How do teachers do it? And they
I
can't drink either.
right? Oh
Like they
man.
day drinking size cans of beer and
One of the great things that I think the pandemic has shown us is the importance of taking care of our kiddos.
yes.
I don't have kiddos, but I think it's super important. I
Hmm.
also think it's important that one of the things that I learned is valuing the relationships that I have
Yes.
that are healthy and not feeling like I need to foster relationships with terrible people.
Right.
Um, which my wife might disagree a little bit,
Mhm.
because I'm pretty, I'm pretty explicit right now. Like, if you're not good, like you're out of my life, and
Right.
I don't have time. I'm
Right.
not going to put energy into this.
Right.
Um, and so with the teacher thing, and with trying to homeschool a child who is super smart,
Mm.
uh, I cannot imagine how you're navigating that. But cheers to you, friend.
Thank you. It's definitely a trial and error process without a doubt, which I mean, just like everything else in life, like sometimes you have to try a few things before you find what sticks. What I think her biggest issue is she just has trouble staying focused on stuff.
Mm,
Like she just like she gets excited about a lot of little things, and so then she's like, "Oh, let me go off and do this, and let me go off and do this." And I'm like, "No, no, no! Like, I just literally need you to sit and finish this math assignment. And if you sat and put some time into it, it would take you 20 minutes rather than the 3 hours that you've spent on it." Um, so yeah, that's been interesting. But I found that it's helped, and I got this from a friend who used to be a teacher. Is that I've taken a basically a piece of paper and I just write down the days of the week, and then I give her like 5 tasks each day. Like these are the 5 tasks that you need to get done. Um, and it'll be, and then I've given her her daily tasks, like because she's 9 and we're still learning just how to be
right,
functioning
right.
humans too. Like some of this, like you have to remember to brush your teeth and brush your hair, but then like every day you do need to read for 30 days or 30 minutes. You do need to practice your piano for 30 minutes a day. Like that's what your teacher expects of you. And just trying to build some of those habits. But that's been, and I think it's helpful for her that she sees it in writing. She knows where, like, if she gets off, she knows where she can come back and recenter. And then when she's done, like, I draw the little boxes so that she can like take her pen and X them off. So I've that's I think that's helped her out. So it's not perfect, but it's better than what it was.
Well, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
So, but yeah, no,
Well,
I think I would agree with you though. Like, I think there's good things that are going to come out of this pandemic. Um,
I'm
I think it's
sorry, you broke up a little bit on that
oh
one.
no, I agree with you. I think there are some things that are going to come out of this and some good things. And the biggest one that I have the biggest two that I keep coming back to is that first of all, I think that I think that this is exposing cracks in our system. Is that the biggest hesitation to shutting down schools was not, oh, can we distance learn, or oh, can parents teach it? It's there are children that are not going to eat because of it. We're the
Yeah,
richest country on earth, so why are there children that are going hungry?
right.
But
Uh,
and I think we've all known this, but it's taken a pandemic to be like, oh yeah, this really is a problem. I think I think there are a lot of people who have always valued teachers. I think there are a lot of people that haven't. But now we have this like now that parents are trying to do this themselves, it's shown that like our teachers are valuable and they play a pivotal role in our
yeah.
society. And we really do need to support them. They do deserve to be well funded and well paid. Um, So I think that's the other one. The other thing that I would say that I think is going to be a good thing is I think you are, and going back to your point about relationships, is that I think that we are going to see a lot of really good in humanity rise, just in terms of people taking care of each other, looking out for each other, doing good things. And again, that's, I'm the cheerleader. I want to see the best in people. But I really do. I think we've seen a lot of really examples of people doing really good things for others that they would not have done in the face of a global pandemic.
I think people take it for granted, or we've taken it for granted. Um, for me personally, I keep telling my friends, and by friends I mean the people that show up, that are there. Tell your other friends that you love them.
Right.
Tell people that you love them.
I agree.
Don't put your energy into people that just suck.
Right.
And by suck, I don't mean like the colloquial suck, but like suck your energy.
Right.
Like, just you don't have to you don't have to be there for the people that are awful.
Right. Exactly. Well,
And I think that's super important. I was able to text a former psychiatrist that I worked with that I just appreciated him.
mhm.
And I appreciated all the good memories that I have. He now lives out in Washington D.C.
Mm.
Um, but it's amazing to be able to say, "Hey, I appreciate you. I
Right.
appreciate this is what you did for me, and
Right.
you are a great person, and I don't have to put that energy into other people that aren't really worth it." So
Right. Well, and I mean, I think that's a good point is that, and, and I know you as, a therapist that you know some of this, but talking about brain science too. And, I was just watching this video about it, but the the less evolved part of our brain is the one that's in survival mode.
yeah,
Um, we're all in survival mode right now. Like
yeah.
we are not functioning at our normal level. And being in survival mode, at least for me anyway, that takes a lot of energy. And so I
Oh,
think,
yeah, it's terrible. Yeah,
yeah, and I think that when your energy is limited like that, and when you're just trying to get through every single day, a day at a time, and not knowing that even if you've done your absolute very best, are you going to get sick still? Or that maybe you don't get sick, are you going to make someone around you going to get sick? Like there's a lot of fear.
yeah.
So when your energy is so limited, it's not worth putting into relationships and people that are going to suck it even further.
Yeah.
It's taking that time to put into those relationships that are going to
Oh,
fill you up and build
interesting.
you up.
Yeah.
That's the way I've looked at it. And one thing that I've been doing too is our church has been doing a care and connecting team
Mhm.
where every we each have a list of about 10 or 15 people, and each we started out weekly and then we decided it was maybe a little much, but every other week just calling them and just saying like, hey, how's it going, how are you doing? And admittedly, I don't like talking on the phone, hashtag introvert problems. Like my own mother could call and I will put it to voicemail, wait 10 seconds, and then text her and say, hey, what's up? Because again, for me, it takes a lot more energy for me to talk on the phone to somebody than it does to send a text. Um,
Right.
but it's also, I think sometimes too is, again, it's good to be out of our comfort zones and to try new things. And it's also sometimes good to put away our own comfort, knowing that it's for the benefit of others. So that's part of why I volunteered for this. But I have gained so much. And there are a couple people, especially that I did not know well at all. I have had such great conversations with them, gotten to know them. Like it's been a really rewarding thing. And so, yeah, like I said, I think just taking that time, and to your point too, tell the people that around you that you love them and that you value them. I think it's always important, but I think this has made it feel especially important.
Uh, Personally, I think we don't tell people that are important in our lives that we love them,
Exactly.
and that intentionally, like, I love you.
Hmm.
I love you as a person. Um, I know you've heard that from Allison and I, but yeah, we love you.
Well, I
You're
love you guys too.
and you're our best friend. So,
Uh,
um, yeah, it's really fascinating because, like even last night when we were chatting, both Alice and I were like, "Oh, we haven't talked to Erin for a little bit. We need to
right.
make sure that she's doing okay."
Thanks.
I
Well,
mean,
and I loved talking to you guys last night. Like that was, and yesterday was fantastic. Like yesterday was one of the best days in quarantine I've had in a while. Like it was just, like we got up and we did church, and which, you know, virtual church is hard but also kind of enjoyable. Like I kind of like the intimacy of being able to do it at home.
I
I
like
miss
the fact that I can do it from bed.
right. I could totally wear my sweats to church. In fact, I was joking too, like because even when church is in my living room, I still can't be on time to church. Um, I'm gonna be late to my own funeral. Like that's just it is.
Yeah.
It's who I am. I am an optimist, and I always like it's not gonna take long to do something, and then it takes longer, and then I'm late getting places. So, um,
Oh, that's the
but like
best quote ever. You're gonna be late to your own funeral.
it's true. Like in
I love it.
fact, so I have to share a funny story. So my so Kevin, who my late husband, our first date. So I am like habitually 10 to 15, well, 5 to 10 minutes late. I don't want to say 10 to 15. I'm generally pretty good about being no more than 5 to 10 minutes late. He's was very good about like being 10 minutes early to everything. And so our first date, he showed up 10 minutes early and I showed up 10 minutes late, and the poor guy thought he got stood up. So I used to always tell him, I'm like, thank you for waiting for me.
So I totally get that. I showed up 30 minutes early to Allison and I's first date. Sat in the car. I didn't know she also showed up early. So both of us were sitting in our cars waiting to go into Starbucks.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I'm ridiculously early.
Yeah,
So
no, I'm late, but like I said, I blame it on me being an optimist because I'm like, it takes 30 minutes to drive somewhere in the best of conditions. So I'm going to leave 30 minutes before I need to be there, because nothing's going to go wrong. Why would stuff go wrong? Life is good. So, but yeah, to the point about church though, like I appreciate that I can get up during the first song and wander over to the coffee maker, and I can still be singing along while I'm making coffee. Great thing. But no, but I did it. So
so,
yesterday, yeah, sorry, as we got off on our tangent.
uh,
I love our tangent.
again,
Yeah,
this is why I thought it would take like 10 to 20 minutes. It usually takes an hour, maybe a little more.
right.
Um, my last question is what do you do for self-care during quarantine? We kind of already covered that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um, so since we're slowly moving out of quarantine, congratulations, you're the first person that I'm going to ask the sixth question of the fiver.
Ooh, it's a sixer.
It's a sixer. Yeah, six pack. When was the last time you apologized to somebody and why?
Oh goodness. I feel like I apologize maybe sometimes more than I should. So and I think it's such a habit, and I think this just comes. I think there are a lot of women that would agree with this. Like it's just I think women are just taught to be apologetic.
Yeah.
Um, and so, and it just becomes like a second nature thing. I've actually had to work really hard at not apologizing for stuff when I shouldn't be. I learned a really great trick, which is to
Interesting.
take your I'm sorry's and change them into thank yous.
Huh.
So, like, since we're talking about being late, I will say rather than say I'm sorry for being late, you say thank you for waiting for me. But I also do believe that I think it's good to be accountable and to recognize when you've done something wrong. So I do try to be really cognizant of like, does something need an apology? Um, it's
I know I sprung this on you.
hard, and I
The
really
reason that
think
I
that I
sprung it on you is because of quarantine, I apologized to somebody that I offended, 9 years ago. And I
mhm,
felt really, really bad.
yeah,
And I finally chose to say, hey, I'm sorry. And it was one of the most amazing experiences I have ever had.
that's awesome.
Um, so that's why I just wonder if other people have had that experience.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, and I truly believe that there's power in forgiveness. So to actually answer your question, I had to think about it for a second. I mean, to be honest, I'm pretty sure that I apologized to Annalise this morning, and it was probably over something ridiculous. But I do make it a point to apologize to her when I need to because I
Hmm.
think as a parent, I think it's good for kids to know that as parents that we're vulnerable and that we're human and that we are not without mistake.
Yeah.
So I do try to be really intentional of like, or especially if I lose my temper with her, I'm a really patient person, but sometimes I lose my temper. But I do try to always follow it back up with her and say, I'm really sorry that I lost my temper, or I'm really sorry that I didn't handle that well. I think it's a healthy thing for kids to see that
Hmm.
behavior being modeled.
Hmm.
Um, but I'll to go back, I kind of mentioned my dad and I didn't have a great relationship as an adolescent, and and a lot of it is because of just the environment he grew up in. But I'm the oldest, and so I grew up with a lot of pressure on me, and it was a
Hmm.
lot of you're the oldest, you should know better, you should do better, you need to set a good example, and it was like very very high standards, and my dad would get frustrated when I wouldn't meet those standards. And so that created a lot of tension. He and I are also we're a lot more alike than we sometimes care to admit. So we both have this very stubborn streak too. But it was really when I was, 20 and 20 or 21, and we kind of had this moment of like, you know what? Like he had to apologize to me for a lot of stuff, and I had to apologize to him for a lot of stuff. And when we had that moment, it completely changed our relationship. And my
Huh.
dad's one of my favorite people now. We get along so well. Like I said, we talk sports together. He's going to be my go-to. I'm going to attempt a vegetable garden this year because I have the time to do it. So um, I hate gardening, but I like the results, so I'm going to give it a shot. But yeah, I think that because I have had that experience, like I do truly believe that there is a lot of healing and power that comes in being able to own our behavior and to acknowledge that we've hurt people and then to be able to forgive and to be able to ask
Wow.
for forgiveness. I think
That's
asking for
powerful.
forgiveness is hard too, but it's
Yeah.
so freeing because once you have that forgiveness, it's like it cuts those chains.
It's amazing. Yeah, so I apologize to it was a friend from college who ended up marrying my best friend from college. Um, and I was a jerk. I really was. But yeah, it was the freeing thing is like, oh, I just let this go. I didn't even know this was a thing, but yeah, I let it go.
Yeah,
And then yeah, she was like, wow, I didn't expect you to apologize. I was like, I'm sorry. Yeah, wonderful,
That's
wonderful things.
amazing.
So,
Well, and I think, did you find too that like, and you know, it's good to be forgiven by other people that we've wronged, but I think sometimes almost the harder part is, being able to forgive ourselves too.
yeah, to fully embrace the fact that you're broken and that you
Right.
hurt other people. Like
Right.
the worst feeling in the world is recognizing like you hurt somebody else
Right.
and you didn't mean to, but you did.
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't think there's enough um, conversation with people about the ability to say sorry.
Right.
So how is that for a weird turn? Huh?
Oh, that was a good question though. I liked it.
Yeah, I kind of do too, because I gotta rearrange my questions because we're all moving out of quarantine now.
I know. Well,
But
allegedly.
but I like the asking. When was the last time you asked for forgiveness or said you're sorry to somebody? Because I
Yeah.
think I don't think a lot of people talk about it, and I
I
think
don't.
it's important.
I agree, and I think that our world and our society would be a lot healthier and a lot more functional if we did it more often. Like I think
Yeah,
there's, I think just to be able to recognize that pain in other people, but then once you can move past it, like that's how you truly move forward. So if we're going to move forward, I think it's a really valuable thing to dial into.
it's amazing too that how freeing it feels, and like it just lifts this like piece of you. Like I was a jerk to this person 9 years ago, but now I was able to kind of rectify that, and oh, now I don't have to carry that burden. I don't have to carry that millstone with me.
Right. Well, and do you feel too, because I'm sure you didn't, it's not like something that you wake up every day and be like, oh, I said that terrible thing to
Oh
that one
no.
person. But I think that those things do weigh in our subconscious. Like we may not be actively thinking about them, but we know they're there.
Yeah,
And it creates this weight and this burden.
yeah. Yeah, it definitely kind of carries you down. It's so weird. I don't know. Being in quarantine has taught me a lot. I love the fact that I'm able to talk to people and that people are willing to talk to me. Because this has been amazing.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
I've enjoyed our time today. Like it's been fun.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks for
Um,
asking me.
of course. Yeah, and if you know anyone, I'm willing to talk to strangers. Anyone else, it's fine. But yeah, thanks, Erin. I
Of course.
appreciate it. I'm gonna
Thank
stop
you.
recording right now.
All right.
Give me just a second, maybe.